Hey Murdoch Mysteries fans, thank you so much for coming out to Fan Expo 14. I'm sorry I can't be there, but in lieu of that, I'd like to present a Season 8 teaser for you. Hope you enjoy it. See you next time.
His name is Richard Dawkins.
Well, the cause of death looks clear. His skull is crushed. And he was killed in plain view of the others?
His assailants obviously weren't worried about being seen.
Sir, oh, good gracious. Sir, the inspector's on his way.
Really? This was enough to rouse him from bed?
Or murder in the dining room of the Queen's Hotel. I should hope so.
Right.
Detective?
Inspector Slorak.
Good Lord. Are you sure we can't cover him up? Or... Get him down to the morgue and clean this up.
Sir, I miss Inspector Brackenreed.
So do I, George. So do I.
The right to vote is within our grasp. Not sometime this century, not in 50 years, but now. Together, we can change the course of history.
Strong words. I wish I had your confidence.
Well, we are nothing without confidence or precedent.
Precedent?
Oh, pardon me, Kathleen. This is Dr. Julie Ogden and Dr. Emily Grace.
Pleased to meet you. Doctors.
Yes, that's right.
Women of considerable accomplishment. Well, surely you must believe that you are of sufficient intellectual capacity to be deserving of the ballot box.
Yes, of course.
More than many men.
Yeah, well, most of us are. But it's our job to try and convince them of that. When I speak of precedent, are you aware that women of both Australia and New Zealand have had the right to vote for almost 10 years?
Well, I'd say it's time we caught up with our antipodal sisters.
We are requesting an audience with the Premier. He's a reasonable man. To that end, we need to continue to gather as many signatures as we can supporting the cause of women's suffrage. Can we count on you?
Of course.
Thank you.
We don't want you down here.
Well, we're not interested in what you want, sir.
Sir? Copper here thinks I'm a gentleman.
No matter what you think, the waterfront is still under the jurisdiction of the Toronto Constabulary.
George.
Lad, you there. Hey, come! Go, lad, go! Run, boy! Don't let those wretched coppers catch you! Out the way! Sweet mother!
You all right, George?
Yes, thanks tremendously, Higgins.
Oh, I did point him out. Come on. You lot can stay as long as you like. You're obviously as useless as tits on a pole.
I didn't steal anything.
I saw you.
Then where is it?
I saw you pick a man's pocket before I caught you.
You didn't catch me. Those other men did. I was getting away from you.
He's right about that, George.
Higgins?
Well, he was.
So? I didn't take anything. You didn't catch me. Can I go home?
No, you can't go home. You're a pickpocket and a thief.
Now, have you seen anything funny going on down at the docks? I said, have you seen anything funny going on down at the docks?
Just you trying to catch me.
Oh, Higgins! But that is the height of sauciness. Get up! You unbelievable. Get up!
What are you doing?
I might not be able to catch a child, but I can certainly throw one in jail. Higgins, thanks again for your tremendous help.
And you're still a constable?
I am indeed.
A smart man such as yourself, I would have thought you an inspector by now.
I'm content with what I do. When did Miss Garrison become Mrs. Brooks?
I met Archibald about 3 years ago. Simon's mother had passed away in childbirth, and he was quite lost without her. He had such an easy smile. He's dead now. Sometimes I really just wonder what I'm going to do.
I'm so sorry. What happened?
He went overseas. The Boer War. He was killed about 3 months ago.
Simon never mentioned anything to me.
I haven't told him. I just haven't had the heart. I do my best to be his mother, but sometimes I just... I'm sorry, George Crabtree. I meant only to share in a cup of tea.
No.
I did not mean to unload my burdens on you.
It's quite all right. If you need anything, you know, you can call on me.
I'll manage, George. No doubt there are many others worse off. Thank you for not throwing my son in jail.
Well, thank you for the tea, Edna.
Take a right in here, Jackson. Right. That takes us out of our way. Well, we're having an adventure. Just take a right. Another one. We're in no rush. Just cut right in here, Jackson. There we go. Here. Pull it in there. Pull it in there. Where are we going, George? Right here. Right here. Stop here. Stop here.
What are you two doing up here? Why are we stopping?
Yes, why are we stopping, George?
Lads, this is what having a motor car is all about.
Hey!
Mrs. Brooks!
George Crabtree? Did you find yourself an automobile?
This is my automobile. Our motor car. Me and my chums chipped in and purchased it this morning.
A purchase like this hardly seems wise on a constable's salary.
3 constables' salaries.
Well, even so, isn't there a saying about fools and their money?
Well, it's a shame you find it so foolish, otherwise I should think I'd like to take you for a drive at some point.
Well, I have always wanted to go for a ride in a motor car.
Maybe I could call round tomorrow.
All right, then. Yes.
Excellent! All right, lads, on we go. Ontario is ours for the discovering. 1 second. Depress the pedal, Jackson.
There.
Depress the gas.
Yep. Put your back into it.
Good man, Higgins. Good man. Good man.
Nice.
Huzzah! Tally-ho!
No. Here we are.
Aha! Here we are.
Getting the hang of this.
A stick in the mud. Is that any way to refer to your future husband?
And I'll desist as long as you stop acting like one.
I'm only suggesting that a public protest could result in you being jailed.
You're not trying to stop me, are you?
I doubt very much there'd be any point to that. I'm simply trying to alert you to...
Murdoch, oh, Dr. Ogden.
Inspector?
Planning our nuptials, I see. On police time. Well, don't let me stop you.
He's a lovely man.
Yes, of course.
Just keep on walking, ladies. Let's see what our members of parliament have to say to this. When he ripped that petition in front of us, I thought I would burst.
Eileen! You come home right now. Did you not hear me?
Just keep on walking, ladies.
The boy will remain in custody until the O'Sheas are behind bars.
Thank you, sir.
Jackson?
Sir?
You sure you're up to this?
Right as rain.
All right.
What do you want?
We're looking for Mick and Tim O'Shea.
They're not here.
I'll be the judge of that. Let us pass.
You'll pass when I say so.
What we are asking for is not scandalous. Although there are some who think our very presence here is shocking. Indeed, so shocking that the government refuses to acknowledge our very existence. And we're not asking for much. All we are asking is nothing more than to be treated as intelligent citizens.
I'll arrest a lot of you if need be. George?
Let's!
Stand aside. Matt?
And now we are asking more loudly and more forcibly. For you all know, there is one inescapable truth. A woman has 2 children. One is quiet and mild. The other is loud and complaining. We know which one gets fed first. We know which one gets listened to. We have come here
not getting by.
Take your hands off me!
Mick O'Shea, you're under arrest. Show yourself.
You should have listened. We own the waterfront.
All right. First up, I'd like to bring out Christina Jennings, who's the CEO of Shaftesbury and an executive producer of Murdoch Mysteries. And Arwen Humphreys, who plays, with spunk I might add, Margaret Brackenreed. He plays Constable Henry Higgins and actually is the real Murdoch on the show, Lachlan Murdoch. She plays Dr. Emily Grace. It's Georgina Riley. He plays Constable Crabtree. It is Johnny Harris. Johnny flew some family members in, it seems like. And she plays Dr. Julia Ogden. It is Ellen Joy. And unfortunately, Yannick Bisson was not able to be here today. So they will be, any questions come up for him, they will answer on behalf of him. Welcome, guys. So one of the first questions, and maybe Christina, this is a question that maybe you can field. Obviously, there's somebody else on this panel that's usually a member of the cast, and Mr. Thomas Craig, and he's not here. We also saw that Brackenreed was beaten fairly badly at the end of the season. What are we to take from the fact that he's not here today?
Well, as an executive producer, you have to make some tough choices, and sometimes you have to change things up. So I think, let's see what season 8 brings. So that would be what I would say to you all.
So we're not getting an answer on that today, then, in other words?
No.
So, Arwen, where does this leave Margaret? With Thomas, could very well be, not listening to his bloody hells anymore. This could be the end of the bloody hells.
She has a French lover.
Yeah, she's been practicing her ginseng seductress practices. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. That's all I can say. I don't know where it leaves her. It leaves her, the widow Brackenreed or not.
Okay. Let's talk. So let's talk to Lachlan. Now, between you and Johnny getting to play Crabtree, you guys are funny, and I feel as though, from the reaction that some of the clips got, I feel as though maybe you guys should be like a buddy comedy. Maybe an online series where the two of you solve crimes. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I smell a spinoff. I don't know about you guys, but.
Yeah. What's it like working with Johnny? I mean, you guys must have some of the most fun scenes.
Oh, we always have at least on my side, we always have a blast working together. I can't really speak for him, but now that we've done close to 8 years together, it's great working with him. I always sort of know where he's going to be, even when he throws me for a loop with an ad lib or something like that. I always know where he's going to be, and I feel like he knows where I'm going to be. So it's always a pleasure working with him. It's great.
And is it tough playing, your character? Is it tough to play him because he's not in all the scenes? The evolution of the characters change a little bit more. Have you seen it change because they realize that, yeah, you're a funny guy and that you can handle these funny lines?
I like to think that that's why, I guess, yeah.
It definitely is, and a lot of the feedback from the fans is that they enjoy the
bromance.
Yeah, the Crabtree and Higgins, you get a little bit of Keystone Cops, and yeah, so the writers have responded to that with writing that element of the show up a little bit.
How much is ad-lib, Lachlan? You said that Johnny ad-libs every once in a while. How much do you ad-lib, Johnny? And are you ad-libbing or you just forgot your lines?
The script is really just a guideline for me. It's no, but they've been, the writers and the directors have been pretty good with letting me throw in an idea here or there, as long as it's not sort of anachronistic and as long as it fits the code of the time. So, which makes my job a lot more fun. So that's great.
And before we start talking about some specific stuff that we saw in the clip, Christina, I understand that there were a couple of storyline ideas that actually came up last year at Fan Expo that were used in this past season 7, is that right?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. Last year we sat on this stage and at the end, you guys were able to ask some questions, and a couple of the questions that were directed at us were what is the backstory of all of these fabulous characters? Where did Murdoch come from? So Maureen Jennings, who is the inspiration for this entire series, had written a book, I don't know if you've read it, it's called Shipwreck. And it is the beginnings of how William Murdoch became the man he is. And it's set in the East Coast. And so one of the episodes this year will be what in effect are his origins. and how, you know, someone sort of took him under his wing and started to realize this man had an unbelievable brain and observational skills. So that absolutely came from the fans. And the other thing to say to you is that I got a note recently, I suppose it was about 9 months ago, and someone said, did you realize Tom Thompson, the painter, was in Toronto around 1903 or 4? So actually just that little note from a fan, we've actually going to have one of the episodes this year that will have Tom Thompson, the painter, from the Group of 7. So I encourage you guys to give us feedback on the series and what you'd like to see, and are there ideas? Happy to take them.
I just did the scene with him yesterday, actually. He's adorable. Who knew?
And Elaine and Georgina, I understand that we're going to see Julia and Emily. Of course, we saw in the clip the suffragette movement is beginning at this time. So how important was it for the two of you to be part of this storyline where we're actually seeing, you know, women moving forward? And Julia makes the comment about, you know, some countries being ahead of Canada. So how important is it to be part of this storyline that's, you know, groundbreaking in Canadian history?
I'm really excited about it. I don't know how Emily feels. No, I'm kidding. Just because since we started the show, I kept saying, the suffragettes, we need to do the suffragettes. I mean, I was sort of interested in them back in Australia. In university, I did a play about the British suffragettes and all the forced feeding and the starvation and all that they went through. Obviously, we're not quite there yet in Canada, and the movement didn't change for quite a long time post what we're shooting right now. But so we're really dealing with the beginnings of the whole movement. But I think it's super important. I mean, well, the feedback we get from the fans is that the history and what's going on at that time is really interesting to everybody. And particularly, it's that time in the world for women was so drastically different. And we love to see the changes that they had to go through. So I'm super excited to be doing it. Emily, how do you feel?
No, me too. What she said. I find it, it just makes me look at my own life and what I have now as a woman and appreciate it more, because I wasn't so educated on it, and doing the show, I learned about a lot of things. And I think that's a big part of it too, just appreciating what I have as a woman and what these women did for us and put in place for us. And so I think the story is really important for that reason too, that the women today who take things, not for granted, but we just have things and we get to do certain things. So yeah, and those women were pretty kick-ass back then, so yeah.
The other thing I think that's interesting about the show is, you know, it's a period show. It's set at the turn of the century, but hopefully we try as creators, all of us, to make it resonate for a contemporary audience. So when I see that suffragette episode, I think of women who are still battling for rights in the world right now. You know, and so I think hopefully we're always able to find something that speaks to the contemporary audience about what's going on now.
It certainly illuminates just how shocking it was that just in such recent history women didn't have a vote. I mean, I find it fascinating, and to see these characters that you become quite intimate with and who you feel very familiar with, you know, and you have this great relationship between Murdoch and Julia, which feels very equal in so many ways, and only to find out that there's so, you know, without equality. So.
And she's so much more sort of in tune. She's obviously more forward-thinking than he is in a lot of ways, and that comes up with, well, especially, you know, when he you know, he's got a heart of gold, but feels like he needs to adhere to some of the Catholic ideologies of the time, and Ogden is sort of past that already. That better be for me.
It's Yannick. Yannick's calling in. Georgina, I understand that Emily finds herself behind the wheel of an automobile this season. Is that true?
Yeah, it was awesome. I got to learn how to drive a car from like 100 years ago.
And
I was actually pretty good. I was impressed with myself. I don't drive stick, but it was like driving stick. It was like a massive stick on the side, right? It was like a chitty chitty bang bang kind of episode. It was a lot of, and I had, it was a good time.
Yeah, I don't think I'm giving too much away to say that fans can look forward to the slowest car chase ever filmed.
So slow.
Emily has evolved in the last couple of seasons since she's been added to the cast. Now, is it true that there's a relationship coming up that's going to shock some fans of the show as well?
Yeah, there's a little, yeah, there's an interesting relationship coming up for sure.
And Johnny, how will this affect Crabtree? I wanted to see them together. Didn't anybody else?
Hey, she tried. She tried, end of season 7.
Haven't you guys learned anything?
You gotta wait for it, folks. You gotta wait for it.
You gotta give it a few decades for it to grow. And it's just going through its, you know.
Well, Crabtree makes that great point, you know, when Dr. Grace says to him, you know, oh, what's his name turned out to be a cad, I'm so sorry. And George points out very astutely, so what you're saying is if he hadn't turned out to be a cad, you'd still be with him rather than me.
No, she then apologizes again.
Kids.
That is not what happened.
All right.
That's how you told me to play the scene, and I refused.
Wow.
Poor George.
Do I need to ask the question about how close you are to your characters? I guess I don't need to.
I did my laundry at his on Monday.
Meanwhile, the other relationship, it looks as though Julie and William may at long last get married. Now, how many of you fans have been... Yeah.
Maybe.
How many of you guys want to see these two finally get married after all these years?
Oh, it makes me teary.
It's been 7 seasons.
It's been a while. It's been a long courtship.
So what can you say? Can you say anything?
I'm not allowed to say anything. But I know you guys will enjoy every moment of it.
But what about you as an actress, Aileen? Have you wanted these two characters to get together? Like, do you think, because it could fall into the pratfall of some shows that get these characters together after a long while, and that it kind of takes away a little bit from the show. What do you think about that?
Well, this is an interesting theory, and everybody throws it around, but I don't know how often I've seen it to be true that, you know, the show falls over when they get married, in that there are great shows. But also, we've just, I feel particularly, I mean, I don't know, I feel like we've matured as television watchers over the last 10 years by mountains. Does anyone else feel that way? Like, television is just far more sophisticated. And characters aren't all 18 on television anymore. There's just a lot more interesting people in different ages. And so we're interested in relationships that are more mature, or, you know. And so I don't think you guys would have a really bad problem if we got married. You wouldn't be like, okay, done. Click. Nice, it's over now. I don't think that that's the case, but I still can't tell you if we're going to get married.
I can't tell you that Dr. Ogden does not marry anybody else this season. So at least there's that.
In a couple of minutes...
She marries somebody, I don't know.
In a couple minutes, I'm going to open up the floor to questions, so if you have them, I'm not sure how they're going to work it, whether you have to put your hand up or what, but in the meantime, I'll ask a couple of questions. Johnny, Crabtree had a great episode last season, Kung Fu Crabtree.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
What was that like, getting physical and doing a little bit of Kung Fu? And then I understand that that carries over to this season, because the Dockyard Brawl, it looks as though you guys get into it as well. So talk a little bit about Kung Fu Crabtree first, and then tease.
Yeah, that was a really fun episode for me. The guys, we had a really crackerjack team led by Alan King, who played my counterpart in that episode. These guys have all worked with Jackie Chan. They're a team based in Toronto, but they're world class. And watching these guys just, I mean, I'm just sort of along for the ride. I get handcuffed to the guy, and it's like the Rush Hour Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker thing. And I'm just sort of avoiding everybody as they do incredible flips. And it's always the guys getting hit who show more talent than the guys who are actually hitting. But they wanted to have, of course, me do a move at the end that he's taught me. And so I sauntered up to them as they were warming up one day, and I was like, when I was 12, I did a few Taekwondo classes. I think I got a spinning heel kick in my back pocket. So then I was like trying to limber myself up so I could do a spinning heel kick at the end. Which looked great in the end, right? Yeah. Nailed it.
How's the groin injury?
Still hurting. Still hurting. But yeah, as you can see, things get a bit physical in that. Wasn't that a great trailer, a great teaser? It was so good. We should give a shout out to Rob Carley, who's our composer. He did our award-winning theme song, which is so good. But he does all our music. He's kind of a genius, and in that teaser, when all the violence is escalating, it was very well cut between the two scenes. But you can feel when the music ramps up, you can sort of feel it in your stomach, and that's Rob Carley who does that. So he's a great asset.
Anybody in the audience have a question? I guess I'll point. Up top to the right there? Oh, sure.
I like the sound of that.
Christina?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what does happen at the top of season 8. I mean, you saw a new inspector there and a couple of scenes. And it'll be interesting to see where we go at the very end of the season. I think Crabtree has some big ambitions. So watch out.
And can you talk a little bit about the new inspector? Patrick Mckenna is so great. I mean, I remember him from Red Green. So what can you tell us about his character?
He's certainly not Brackenreed. He's an extraordinarily funny man. So he's going to really, though, cheese off Murdoch and Crabtree and Higgins. Trust me, there's going to be, they're going to be a little annoyed.
Okay, then question, yep, standing up.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Johnny's aunt is in the audience.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, Crabtree is also a very humble man, so he's very eager. I don't know if you guys remember, there is one episode where he sort of becomes I think the episode is called Convalescence, and Murdoch has been injured, and Crabtree, do you remember there's a parrot? And Crabtree is sort of acting detective rather, and he gets a bit flustered, you know, he doesn't really know how to dole instruction out to Higgins, and I think in that episode, Crabtree realizes that he'll be a detective one day, but not quite yet. He also, I think, sees that he and Murdoch are a bit of Batman and Robin, sort of, and that there's a good thing going there. So there's no need to upset the balance just yet. Down the road, Crabtree will end up to be a very successful, wealthy man.
Thank you. Yep, gentleman right there.
Yeah. Two words. Terrence Myers.
You want him back? Yeah, you'll see Terrence Myers in season 8.
What's really great about being 8 seasons in is every now and then we get to see, such as Myers or Inspector Slorak, these characters that you see every other season or even every 3 years, you know, it adds a real depth to our you know, our Victorian Toronto, people, you guys know Terrence Myers or Pendrick
Well, even
or
Edna, right? Wasn't she the woman with the dog in season 2?
She was in the very first episode of the first season.
101.
Oh, yeah, 101.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, guys? She had the campaigning for lost dogs, and you took the dog in, I think. So 7 years later, to bring her back was fun.
There was a gentleman in a yellow shirt, I think. Yep. Okay.
He's fantastic.
Yes, am I a good kisser?
Sir, that was really your question, wasn't it? Did you have a question, though, sir? Seriously?
I'm blushing. Oh. I don't know. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer that?
Oh, go ahead. I apologize. I was trying to save you. Go ahead.
You know, when you kiss on TV, it's different. I just want to tell you, it's not the same.
This is true. It's not bad necessarily, but it's different.
It's different. So, I mean, I don't want to say anything that might, you know, I'm sure Yannick's a really good kisser. What can I say? But I don't kiss Yannick. I kiss Murdoch. Murdoch's okay. He's got a bit of, you know, he's got a lot to learn. This is why it's taken 8 years. Let's be real. I'm gonna get in so much trouble when he finds out about me. Next question.
Sir, you had a question after you're done.
Primarily we shoot Southern Ontario, and we obviously have a great visual effects team who recreate what Toronto looked like. And every season I have this idea we should move out of Ontario. So we've shot in Alberta in Drumheller in the dinosaur park, and we went out to Dawson City, you'll remember. And last year we went out to Newfoundland with Doyle. And this year we're going up into the far north of Northern Ontario. But primarily it's all down here in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, you guys are in Brantford a lot, right?
Brantford a lot, Cambridge a lot, like a ton in Cambridge, Port Hope, that whole area, Elora. Yeah, it's those communities they've kept all their great buildings, unlike dear Toronto, that decides to rip them all down.
Right down here in the front in the red shirt.
So I'm just curious, I did send some ideas for episodes and sayings and things. Do you hear back? I just don't know if I sent it to the right place or...
She doesn't know technology at all.
Probably the best thing to do is just to send them into Shaftesbury. So send them to Shaftesbury on their, the 163 Queen Street East. And my communications team will find them. As I say, I just happened to find that one about Tom Thompson, and I thought it was such a great idea. The group of 7 is such an important part of our heritage. So yeah, send them in. Obviously, we can't do everything. The writers have got tons of ideas, but we try our best.
Wow, we have a lot of limited time. Okay, down the front there.
Just going back to the recurring guest stars. A while ago, we had the episode where we finally met George's long-lost mother. And she's kind of never been back in the picture since. We met his aunts last season, finally. Wondering, family members in general, Murdoch's father, Crabtree's mother, all of those kind of family members. Will we be seeing more of them?
We try, I think, to balance that, because we've got a big cast, and we've got our A stories going, we've got what's going on now. But no, we do try and service. So, Brackenree's wife is coming back more. And I got to say, was really was very much, again, thanks to you fans saying, you know, we'd like to see more of her. And so the writers started writing more. So it is just this delicate dance of we got 44 minutes every week, and how do we... So as they say, this year we're focusing on Murdoch's backstory, how he started as a young boy, and as they bringing more of Mrs. Brackenreed in. So, but we try.
Yeah, I just, thanks for mentioning that, Christina. I just want to say thank you so much. Whenever I get, there was a petition made or something like that to have more of Mrs. Brackenreed, and I was really overwhelmed like that. That was beautiful, because I love playing her, and I love being on the show, and they've written me some really fun stuff, like Kung Fu Crabtree was a blast. It's so much fun on that, so thank you so much, and obviously, you know, to Shaftesbury. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
We only have a couple minutes left, but there's one question that I wanted to ask of everybody on the panel, and that is, this actually came from Facebook, and it's how close is the cast when you're not all on set working?
Well, you know what? I mean, the thing is we all work together and we all like each other. It's really, I mean, it's always lovely to, as somebody who kind of jumps in and out of the show, I always feel a very warm, welcoming feeling. We've all kind of been working together for a long time. So I think with any work relationship, there are people who know each other outside of it. And then there's also, you know, you just come in and you have fun. Like I had a great time this morning, and you know, so we all get along really well. I don't think it's necessarily a question of closeness, if that makes sense.
It's like going back to school every year.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, and we all have such separate lives. I mean, us three, we live kind of similar area, but she's constantly out of leaving town and living in LA, and I'm off to New York, and Johnny does this weird show where he travels all around Canada. Had to mention that.
Although Georgina did marry one of my best friends.
There you go. Johnny emceed my wedding, so
yeah.
You know.
I met Georgina I knew Georgina only as my buddy's girlfriend, and then she told me she was auditioning for Murdoch Mysteries. I assumed it was a guest star for one episode. And then she said, oh, I got the part. And then I found out when we started shooting that it was going to be the new main role on the show. And then they paired us off as love interests. So in 1 week, me and Georgina had a kiss on set, and then I emceed her and Mark's wedding.
You gotta love this business. But yeah, no, we're all really close. It's just that we tend to see each other a lot when we're working, and then we all fly off in different directions. But you know.
Okay, so who wants to take this next question? If you could encapsulate season 8 into 140 characters, a little bit more than that, what would you say?
We don't have all of it yet. We don't know.
All right.
We're just actually on Friday midday, we hit our mid-season of shooting. So we're half done season 8 exactly now.
And so tease the first half of the season then.
So 70 characters then.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to do it in sections or something, because we literally have
There's
numerous
a lot going on,
storylines going on. I mean, you've seen part of it in the tease. We have a really awesome through line with these women that are trying to change the world and political scene in Canada as they knew it. So that's a really awesome through line that's going to be happening, and that's really exciting. And then there's the question of whether they get married. You know, it's exciting. That'll be fun, and that's right from the beginning. So that's happening.
And then there's also on top of that a dead body every week that needs to get sorted out. So.
I think some things stay the same, and you're going to see some changes this year, which are exciting. Just they're not bad.
And lots more of what everybody loves for sure as well. So look forward to that.
Awesome.
There's a big joke sort of now on set whenever we start shooting an episode that wherever any of our characters go in their day-to-day life, whether it's the theater or fishing or everywhere they go, there's a dead body. So there must be bad luck, you know.
We should just never go out.
Yeah.
Because someone's always going to die.
Guys, thanks so much for your time. Just a reminder, Season 8 returns Monday, October the 6th at 8 p.m. on CBC. Thank you.